We are back.
Oh.
Yeah, like I'm inspired. I'm inspired by, I don't have to agree with people to get inspired.
No.
Like I can have a completely different methodology than you or you to me, but like people are trying to make a difference and trying to make things better. I'm inspired by the will.
And the will to try and do it.
Yes.
Yeah.
I have no problem with failing.
No, absolutely not. That's a huge part of it.
Yeah. So mental health. I've struggled like a mofo. Have you?
Yeah, absolutely. From as early as like childhood, honestly, through different things. My parents divorced at a young age, so that was hard as a kid, going through different traumas. Then just struggling with who you are, what your purpose is in life, typical anxieties, going through depressions of whether it be relationships or again trying out who you are. These are all things I think a lot of people are experiencing and don't know the answers to. No one's taught like how do you get through this stuff. You're not taught it in school. You're not taught it really in life. Someone's just like figure it out, right?
Yeah, and what do you do to kind of what is your kind of like methodology of managing your mental health?
It started with going to the gym. That was the very first thing that I think triggered all of part of what I am today. Is going to the gym became a great way to release stress, anger, depression, be in your own head. I think it became the first, aspect of meditation for me. Being in the gym, being in your own headphones, and going for 2 hours sometimes. And as a kid, that was a great way to release all of those, feelings and emotions and figure them out. And then that just kept evolving and evolving and evolving, especially trying to get into things like meditation and then learning how, learning your own personality, understanding yourself, and then all this awareness thing that comes with it. And then you really start to, get a hold of when you start to struggle, what to do to kind of bring yourself back to who you really are.
Why do you think we struggle? Like I have, that's no secret, like I am. Definitely.
I think a lot of us are disconnected with, I guess it's cliche to say it, like nature. But a lot of people, I think, are stuck in what I've sometimes heard is like the concrete jungle. So it's like all the social media stuff and all the materialistic world. And a lot of people are kind of wondering like what's missing? Like why don't I feel good? And I think a lot of us are looking for deep connection with people, like-minded people, wanting to be heard and understood. I think a lot of people are afraid to like really be themselves because we've evolved, but we still have this really old, ancient technology inside of us where we're super primal. And like we want to be a part of a tribe and we want to fit in.
Yes.
And subconsciously, I think that's so powerful with a lot of people, and they're afraid if I don't do or I do some of these things, will or won't I fit in? It's like just be yourself, and the rest of it, like your vibe will attract your tribe.
Yeah, I mean that's just a beautiful thing. Like for me, I would have to say that I think it's about status. A lot of people are too worried about status. I read a great book about it called Status Anxiety.
Yeah.
I think where a lot of us are worried about, like, here's something that I heard years ago that I think is rather brilliant. I am not what you think I am, and I am not what I think I am. I am what you think I am. Or you could say it better, I am what I think you think I am.
Yeah, it gets deep.
And that's kind of what I'm saying to people is like, do you get to decide my value?
No, absolutely not.
Well,
in some sense, but I mean to you.
Yeah, but you see where I'm going? Like you admire some people.
It's kind of interesting because I'm thinking about a quote that I heard, but it said like, to every person that you've ever met, there's a different version of you that exists.
Yeah.
And like that's kind of just going in the premises of that.
Yeah.
So it's just like you can't think too much about all of those people.
Yeah.
Because it gets busy. It gets busy if you keep kind of wondering, how does that person label me or this person? I think again that kind of goes back to your vibe attracting your tribe, and everyone kind of just feels on the same playing field.
Yeah.
No one's really competing with any status level. You just all agree to disagree. And
Well, we do have like, what is status to you?
to me, it's almost nothing. I think I got rid of that years ago of trying to use a status to label myself, and I guess that's why I struggle sometimes with social media, because I find that social media, a lot of times people go, oh, he's this type of way, or that's the status of this person or that account or whatever it may be, so he must be that way. There's a lot of a judgment based on a status. So it's, to me, it's almost like trying to always keep away from, there is no status, it is whatever you want it to be. To me, it's all health related.
Yeah.
And I guess the status is just health, which is where the healthy.
We look a certain way. Why do we? And we dress a certain way. Why do we?
Yeah, exactly right.
So like that's a form of status. Like, well, think about it like this. Like, I respect doctors a great deal, but like in this country, it's very common to call them doctor. My country, no.
What would you say?
Well, just like do you see what I'm saying? Like.
Yeah, status of right away.
Yeah, well, that's part of it. Probably it's also probably good practice, because then you can differentiate between who knows what they're saying and who they're not. But like status is a super complex thing between like an Instagram. No judgment on you, but like how ripped you are.
Yeah.
Often is dictating. That's that. Hold on. That also it's often kind of dictating about. Yeah, what I was saying is, on social media, how you look is often dictating about what you know about things, what you know about science, what you know about this cult, what you know and what don't you know.
Yeah.
So like, status is
I know you just hit exactly, again, my thoughts on it all, is that, when people do see someone in wicked shape, immediately it's you're marketing yourself, essentially. Jay-Z has a quote where it's like, I'm not a businessman, I'm a businessman.
Yeah.
And it's just.
What does that mean to you?
You are the business. Your personality, your vibe, your authenticity, whatever you're trying to put out, that's really the business. And people will vibe with that. And there's a thing called like 1,000 true fans. And I think like if a lot of people out there reached out to 1,000 people that they could help, year after year after year, we'd have a crazy revolution in the world.
Yeah.
So it just kind of goes to some of those things.
Beautiful. So, what's your revolution?
For what would I like to see as a revolution?
Like, if you could start a revolution, what revolution would you start?
Oh wow, that's a really good question. I almost feel like immediately it kind of went to some selfish things. It's like I would like to see a lot of people just go to, understanding some of the more simple things that you just kind of need in life to feel good. It'd be amazing if you had to live in a world that had nothing to do with economy or money.
Why?
Imagine if anyone could just have.
It wasn't supposed to be that kind of way. It wasn't supposed to tell me about it. I was like, what the fuck?
I know, right? I think it'd be interesting to see, that people, I think what a lot of people might be striving for materialistically is not going to truly bring them happiness. So if they could have it right then in the moment and then experience it for however long they need to experience it for, then they might realize, like, you know what, there's more to me than what I thought there was.
Yeah.
So if people could have maybe experienced what some of those ambitions they have, would they be happy if they had them? So giving everyone that I said that experience, that would be a revolution.
Okay. Why do we live?
Ooh, why do we live? I think everyone's trying to figure out that. I'd love to ask you that. Why do we live?
I think that, we live because life has a desire to change, to morph, to evolve. There's a philosophical answer to this, and there's a biological answer to this.
Well said, because I think that's why I asked you that question.
So for me, I would say, like, you should live to try to make the world around you a little bit better place. How you do this is part by working on yourself, and the other part is kind of taking responsibility for the world that you live in. And even though it's a hell that you live in, Every man is partially responsible for the hell he lives in.
Yes.
And then we kind of like, what is the next stage? Do you know what I mean? Do you believe in like, okay, me and you, we merged with a machine, yada yada. Like, what's the next state of being human?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of people talking about that right now with like Elon Musk and like Joe Rogan and what is the next stage? I think people are gonna want to be maybe part machine. There's definitely going to be people that are going to want to live maybe forever or have advantages in strength or biological learning. So anything, I think humans strive to be better, and anything that can potentially do that, you'll see people right away sign up for.
I get you.
So it potentially could head that way.
Yeah, but that's kind of like where we're going, but that's all like the flesh suits, like that's all the body. Do you believe in the soul?
Yeah, I think there's a part there that's whatever you want to call it. Maybe a soul is definitely the right way.
Consciousness, spirit.
Yeah, exactly. All that, all the above. There's definitely something there.
Have you experienced it?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
Can you tell me about it, if you would?
I think
if you want to.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the easiest way for me to explain it, on how I felt it, is from doing really long meditations, and there's something else you hear inside of you.
Okay.
That's like, you're on the right path or not. And I think we are constantly in our own thoughts, the conscious thoughts, that you never really let the subconscious a chance to truly speak. And if you allow that to happen, you might get some profound answers into what you're doing in life.
Yeah. Do you believe like there is like a blackboard in the sky and it's already been written on your purpose, or do you believe it's more kind of like there isn't a blackboard but you can write everything you want on it?
That's a wicked question too, because like those are thoughts that I've had, and I've experienced both. I've had people tell me, based on this date, when you were born and how the moon was shining and all that, this is kind of your path and this is who you are. And then I've also struggled with, I think you also have the ability to kind of change that. I think that's part of your growth, is maybe that there is a part of you that is supposed to be this certain way, but then growing outside of that allows you to be maybe what's called like balanced. And there's maybe some purpose in that, of living your life to its fullest potential. Is maybe changing the path of what's written in the stars. Because I think at the end of the day, you get to write your own story.
Yeah, so you don't think it's like a set board?
Nah. And again, people might find comfort in knowing that too, because it's like, oh, okay.
Could be a combination.
Yeah, right? It's like, oh, that makes sense because this is when I was born, this is the way I am, so it has to be right.
Or you could be like, you're in the genre of like helper, healer, influencer, I say like conduit, like what I something experienced, like I feel this urge, I don't know where, but like there's something I have to tell a person and I tell them.
Yeah.
So more like just conducting. It isn't for me, it's like me doing it. It's like, do you know what I mean? I'm still an atheist, so that sounds strange.
I know, right? So that's the best part about it.
That's a whole new program with that. So like, because like that also gets nice. It's the good old fashioned, it depends.
Yep, absolutely.
Like it's the good old fashioned, it depends. But if people are asking like, why are we here? The question is really like, do we get to choose?
I know, right? Do you get to choose?
Do you get to choose why you are here? Or do you have like, are people kind of subcategorized into, you have like personality of this, that you're more likely to fall into that group than the other?
Yeah, I mean, I guess that kind of goes right back again. Like you have the ability to write the story, but maybe there's some playing cards that you're already dealt with. And you got to deal with some of those cards to get to the next hand.
Definitely could be. I'm not saying that's impossible, but that's kind of like, both are super exciting, of either realizing the potential that is there, or the potential is infinite, or trying to figure out the purpose. It depends on how much freedom you think the individual has.
Absolutely.
And that's kind of like, I can do a lot of things. I probably won't play in the NBA.
Yeah, coming.
Do you see where I'm going with this?
And I think that's again going back to what I said earlier about like your awareness.
Yeah.
Is like, what kind of skills do you have, and what can you double down on and get really good at. There's talents that I think everybody has.
I get you, man.
And if you can maybe figure those out, and some of those talents maybe even are a passion of yours, like run with it. You got a lifetime, like use it.
I get you. Like I can't remember what book I was reading, but like could be Steven Pinker. They were talking about professional happiness.
Mm-hmm.
And as a general rule, here's how it goes. People 10 or 20 years down the line who report the most professional happiness in their profession are the people most often that it wasn't their passion, but it was something they were good at.
Yeah.
So Mike Rowe has a great part about this, maybe you heard it. So Mike Rowe from Dirty Jobs, he said, I come from a long line of carpenters. And when I was about 13 years old, I took a whole semester building a box. And I showed it to my grandfather, who was a master carpenter. And his grandfather said, Mike, this carpentry business, it isn't for everybody. And that's kind of like my grandfather was just like what we call in my country, he was a born carpenter. It was in him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I don't really know if that's a thing or not, or if you can just like develop all skills. I think it's probably a combination.
Could be a combination, just DNA.
It could be both. But I was reading. Maybe you've heard about it. Humans. It's called "Behave: Humans at the Best and the Worst" by Robert Sapolsky, and he was saying, don't ask yourself what a gene does. Ask yourself what a gene does in a particular environment.
Oh yeah.
Because that's kind of nature versus nurture. So that's maybe how it is. It is like our blackboard potential in the sky.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Versus the.
You can actually see like some science maybe that kind of goes with that.
Yeah, so maybe it's both. So it's I do not know, and that's okay. But
Yeah, that's half the wonder of it is having that kind of in the back of your head and just seeing how it plays out throughout life.
Yeah.
I mean, especially if people are interested in studying their own, like who they are.
Yeah.
It's great to kind of maybe just give it a screening and then see how life maybe plays out for